Welcome back to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for our another installment in a brand new year of our great program here before the snap. We are entering our fifth year. We can't believe it, and we are so excited to be back to bring to you all the great people who work in and around the NFL, and for you students to learn more about what it takes to have a career in that sport, specifically looking at the National Football League. Since it's the beginning, we're going to explain kind of what this program is. And if you're tuning in for the first time, you're going to learn about it. If you've seen it before, you know what we're going to talk about. But this program is in place so we can showcase all the great careers in and around the game of football and all the work that goes into making sure that ball can kick off on Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. We want to show all the work that goes right up until that point, making sure that ball can kick off, everything that happens before the snap. My name is Jake Ray, and I'll be moderating the session here today. I'm the Youth Education and Leadership Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we are super excited to have two guests from the Los Angeles Chargers, Jaemin Cho and Lorren Walker, who both work in social media, and we're going to learn all about their careers as we dive in today. But before we get started, a little bit about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's our mission to honor the greats of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And those values we promote those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty, all of which made our 378 Hall of Famers the best players, football minds of all time. But it makes me a great employee. It makes our special guests great employees, and truly can make you the best students you can be as well. We also, before we get started, we'll have some people we like to thank. We like to thank our special guests here today, Jaemin and Lorren, for giving time out of their busy schedules to be with us today and for everything they do for the game of football. The NFL landscape would look a lot different without their impact. So we're super excited and grateful for everything they do for the game and specifically for us here today at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All of our educators, professors, teachers that shared this out with their students today, we want to thank you so much for doing so. And then lastly, I have to thank all the students tuning in. Students, this is an opportunity for you to grow your network. You learn so much in college about you need to grow your network. You need to start networking. Well, this is an opportunity to do so, to network with two individuals who are currently working in the NFL for a very prominent team in a very prominent city. Take advantage of this opportunity. Later today, we're going to, in the chat, you'll be able to see their LinkedIn profiles where you'll be able to get on and connect with them, send them a message. Take advantage of that. Do that. But before we get started, we always like to know where our students are watching from today. So if you're watching our program, go ahead and in the comment section, let us know your name, the school you go to. We're going to try and see how many great colleges and universities we can have represented today. And if you do have a question, go ahead and put that in the comment section as well. We'll do our best to make sure we can get that question in as part of the program. So without further ado, today we are lucky to be joined by two great individuals, Jaemin Cho and Lorren Walker. Jaemin is a social media professional with a focus in vertical video content and organic engagement. Currently serving as the senior vertical video coordinator in organic social media with the Los Angeles Chargers. She brings an array of experience from the NBA to the NFL. She began her career with the Dallas Mavericks, cultivating her skills in content creation as a social media intern while balancing her academic commitments at Southern Methodist University. Lorren Walker is a programming manager in organic social media with the Los Angeles Chargers. She has over 7 years experience in digital and social media, and she has made significant contributions at various organizations, including Arizona football, USC football, and the Houston Texans. She is deeply committed to leveraging her platform to pioneer new strategies, develop innovative content, and engage with a diverse audience. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome both Jaemin and Lorren to Before the Snap. Both of you, welcome today.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. We're really excited. Hopefully, we say some encouraging words.
Awesome. Thank you, Jake. Excited to be here as well.
Awesome. Well, I know you both work in the same pretty much department. We'll use that. That's pretty much standard term. That's in the business world. So I want to focus on what each of you do kind of different from the other person. So Lorren, since you're up, we'll start with you. Can you just kind of give us that 10,000-foot view on what your job is and what you handle on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So as the programming manager, my day-to-day mostly consists of curating and publishing our content across our major platforms. So Instagram, X, and Facebook. I play a big role in organizing our content calendar and just working with other departments like video, PR, and community, making sure we have all of our assets and making sure things are going out on time. So if anyone ever has questions like, where's this video? Where's this post? They'll come to me or someone on my team to, just get a timeline on things. Another big part of my role is copy, just ideating on copy each day. And then my favorite part, I'll say, of my job is just looking for memes, creating fun ways to be different and stick out from other teams across the league.
Well, I know we'll touch on it eventually today, but the Chargers social media is above and beyond a lot of the other ones you see in sports, and we'll get into the different techniques and why the Chargers do what they do on social. But Jaemin, before we do that, I want to focus on and talk a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, a lot of what Lorren mentioned, I will definitely help her and the rest of our team with getting out content on all of our major platforms, but my job specifically focuses on our vertical videos. So that contains anything that's like shot on an iPhone, basically. So things of like going to cover practice or going to the locker room to do like a fun like tiny mic question. Things like that that are primarily shot on a phone is usually up my alley. And then I'll edit and post those videos to our TikTok and Instagram Reels, or it will get shared to our video team to get posted on YouTube Shorts. So mostly my day-to-day consists of, shooting and then editing and then also maintaining and keeping up with our content calendar on TikTok, which is a little bit of a separate platform for us in the NFL compared to our Instagram, our X, and Facebook.
And we'll continue with that. We'll dive right into it. For me as somebody who, consumes content on social media from NFL teams, specifically, working at the Hall of Fame, you're always trying to stay up and see what all the other teams are doing. And the Chargers are known for kind of, there's that hypothetical line that sometimes you can kind of hover your foot over a little bit, not put the toe down on the other side. And the Chargers are right there, and it's not in a bad way. It's in a great way, and it's engaging and it's funny and it's fun to watch. So somebody that's working in that day to day, Jaemin, we'll start with you. What are some techniques and things that you look out for to make sure that your pages stay at the top of that? We are kind of trying to pioneer a new way to work in social media.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the times our motto here in our organic social team is we aren't really afraid to try. So if we see something or if we think of something that we want to do that maybe is one of those things that like kind of cross that boundary a little bit, and not in a bad way, but more of a creative way or a way that we can relate to our fans and an audience, then we do it because we know that, if we try and then it like completely flops and it doesn't work for us, and we know next time not to do it. Or sometimes we do it and then it goes really well and then it works out and people love it. And so we continue to do that kind of stuff. But I think we've been taught here, top to bottom, with our director, and our senior director, that like we're okay to try things and be creative in that aspect. And then we just see how it goes and we learn and grow from that. So being able to have people who support you and your creative ideas, some may not be great, some are great. It doesn't matter. We try it anyway, and we just see where that takes us. So I think that's a big reason why we continue to be innovative in our field.
And then Lorren, from the programming side of trying to schedule all of these out, how do you make sure you're not putting too much out, you're not putting enough out? How do you find that balance of is it analytics? Is it math? Is there a specific formula to find that number? And how do you balance all the different platforms? Because Twitter isn't the same as X isn't the same as Facebook. TikTok isn't the same as Instagram. How do you figure out all that information while, like Jaemin said, trying to make sure you're staying ahead of the curve and still doing these things that are new and vibrant and cool on social media?
Yeah, good question. I think we use a balance of like analytics and kind of just as a consumer, knowing how much content we want to consume. Like if it's Saturday, we know we're not going to post our funniest meme at 10 a.m. on a Saturday when people are sleeping or, outside working out, not kind of like tuned in on their phone. Like, we kind of think like, okay, we're going to get our funniest, best content out midweek, maybe lunchtime or 5 p.m. and people are fresh out of work. And then teaming up with our paid team to make sure that kind of aligns with what the numbers are showing. Because, in-app also that analytics are there, but we kind of want to go deeper and make sure that it's really lining up in that way. And then as far as just like not posting too much, I feel like we do a good job. Jaemin might be able to share more of just kind of spreading the content out. I know some teams, they kind of just, push maybe every piece of content they get. And we're really choosy, kind of selective with what we put out there because we want to make sure it aligns with our brand and that there's also a piece of content for everyone. So we're not overloading with just major football content, but we're keeping it balanced with something for the girls or for the younger audience also.
Awesome. And I think that's something that the further we move, into new technology that more and more people are focusing on is not so much getting content out there because it's content, but getting relative content and content. Maybe you do it for a niche audience that maybe 5, 6 years ago was a negative because you didn't want to send it to just a subset of who you're trying to reach. But because there's a certain subset of fans that you are trying to reach now, social media is a great way to do that.
Exactly.
Going to kind of focus on each of your careers here a little bit before we get to our next part. So we're going to start with Lorren. We'll stay with you. Had experience both in Arizona and USC, the football programs, before jumping into pro football. What's the difference between working in college athletics versus professional athletics? Because we probably have a lot of college students who are tuning in right now who might
Mhm.
have those college athletic jobs who want to make the jump to professional football or professional sports. What are some of the biggest differences and similarities between the two careers?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. I would say the biggest difference is from the college social standpoint. Our audience, specifically at USC, when we first got the football account, was more so towards recruiting. And so not only were we showing player personalities, but we wanted to market the school and say like, okay, like, it never rains in Southern California. And here's our like top players' GPAs and things that made the school marketable. If knowing that we had like parents also following the account, having content for them also. So just having more like a broader audience in that sense, but still kind of focused on selling the school and not just the football team. And then I always joke, I never like looking back from on college 5 years ago almost now. I don't know how we got anything done because we never like had real meetings or really sat down and brainstormed. It was kind of just like, go ahead. I was trusted to do my thing on game day, and I can't even remember like my true approval process and what that was like. And so that's probably the biggest difference. I remember when I started in Houston a few years ago, we had like meetings on the calendar where we actually talked and discussed things. And like my copy went through a few different people, like a few different people got their eyes on it to approve it. And that kind of changed as I got, more experience in that way. But it was just a lot more. I won't say the stakes were higher because the stakes are higher both in college and NFL, but just more people surrounding you for that goal to make your product, your social even better.
Awesome. And Jaemin, for you, in your bio, we read a little bit at the beginning there. It says that you're trying to enhance the team's culture and player personalities. Can you touch on A, what that really means to you, and B, why is it important to not only build the Chargers brand as a whole, but the 53 plus the practice squad players you also have on the team's roster?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big part of my job, because it's centered on video, is that we try to showcase who our guys are, or what the Chargers are, like what our culture is to our fans and to people who may not even be following football. On TikTok, we're kind of pushed in a different way to not be so focused on the football of it. We don't post highlights on our TikTok page, per the league's rules. So in that way, we are kind of pushed to take our content outside of the football fans sometimes, or to engage audiences who want to get into football. And so a lot of that stems and relies on being able to really humanize our team, show who these guys are off the field, because once they have those helmets on, they're a little bit difficult to recognize on TV. And so when they take those helmets off and are just like practice or in the locker room or just around our facility, we try to tap in on their personality so that we can showcase who they are outside of being a football player. And hopefully that allows our fans or people who watch our content to kind of relate to them as humans. And hopefully that goal is to turn them into fans because of who they are off the field, but also carry that into when they get to see them play on the field. So big balance between kind of using our platforms to be able to really show who they are is big to our organization, because we want to be able to make sure that football is available for everyone, and it's not just for people who grew up just watching football with their parents, but maybe are young girls who want to get into football, or just anyone who may have not watched it before. Like I didn't come to a background of watching football with my family. So being able to market to those people, I think, is super important for us. And so that's really a big reason why my job focuses on being able to tap into different audiences.
I think that's a really good point you made there, is because you said there no football experience, not a fan, didn't watch it, but you come into a job having that personal experience of, well, I was in those shoes of people I'm trying to reach. What would I like? And I think that when you can provide that or add that to, any job, any personal experience, any personal relationship or moments you've been in, to tie it into your career, it gives you that perspective of, well, maybe this would work because it would work it for me. And then, vice versa as well. There's going to be situations you haven't been in, but maybe Lorren has been in, that you're able to lean to her and say, well, would this work? So I think that's a great point you made there. And it really goes to show that, sometimes the personal things you go through can help build your career down the road. Now, we got a lot more questions to get to here today. But part of what we do here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we mentioned, our mission at the beginning and what it meant to us. Honor the heroes of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and celebrate excellence together. So we believe the game of football does so much, to those who play it, watch it, coach it, whatever it might be. So just in real short and concise, whatever first comes to your mind, Jaemin, we'll start with you. What have you seen the game of football do? What's the power you've seen the game of football give to those who watch it, play it, coach it, whether it's players experience something, fans, an interaction you had on social media? What are some of those life lessons you see the game of football teach those around you?
I definitely think football brings a sense of community. Working for a team in general and a sports team is super special because I feel like we all get to kind of have one thing to like root for, and our goal as an organization is to win a Super Bowl. And even like winning on just one week like feels amazing, and you can see the energy shift in the building when our team is doing great on the field. And so that's really kind of what's magical about being able to be a part of a sports team, because we all work towards like one big goal. And I think that in itself just makes us so much like a family and willing to kind of help each other out when we're down, or push each other when we get really busy throughout like the game week. And so I think being able to unite under just like a team together, whether that's like a team in an organization or the team that's playing on the field, I think it's really cool to be able to root for a goal together. And I think that has been like one of my favorite parts about working for a sports team, is just like we're such a big family here because we love to win and we want to win that Super Bowl one day. So it's been super fun. So that definitely has to be the best thing about working for football, is the team aspect, the family aspect. Yeah.
Lorren, same to you. From your perspective and your experiences, how have you seen the game of football impact those around you, including yourself?
Yeah, super good question. I think what I've seen most is that just working here has taught me how to just persevere and be resilient inside the office and outside the office, specifically, just because on game days, especially as the social team, we can't control the product that goes out on the field. We can just
But I'm sure the fans really think you do.
Right, right. They think we're making the roster moves and cuts, so we'll take it. But at the end of the day, like we are so far removed from all of that. And so for us, it's like no matter what happens, how are we going to bounce back from a loss? And like, what are we going to do to still show that we are a team, and, that we aren't defined by our losses necessarily, and just, still do our job to the best of our ability. So, if the season isn't going that well, best believe every day we're going to go out there and own pregame. We're going to have the best pregame content and even the best postgame content, because that's what we can control, right? So I think it's taught me that even in life outside of work, that you have to have that same mindset that things are going to happen that you can't control, and you just have to be resilient and persevere through them and still do, your best.
Awesome. Well, we focused on now the life lessons, the values of the game, which we believe in here at the Hall of Fame, and how great the sport of football is. So now we're going to focus on the history part. And every program we have here at the Hall of Fame, we love to send it out to the museum to showcase to everybody watching, including our guests, what we do here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I got an awesome team member of mine, Katie, who's out in our Hall of Fame gallery right now, who's going to be coming from our Hall of Fame gallery, where there's some awesome things on display. So Katie, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Jake. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie, and welcome to the Hall of Fame Gallery here inside the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. This might be the most famous spot in the museum, and it's definitely one of my favorites. It's where all of the bronze busts are held, which you can see behind me, and they honor each member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So what does it mean to have a bronze bust? To put it in perspective for you, there have been over 300 million people to ever play the game of football. Out of that, there have been about 5 million to play the game in college, and then just about 30,000 people who have ever been paid to play the game. Out of all of those people who have ever played football, there are only 378 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So there are 378 of these bronze busts in this room right now. So normally we would show one of these bronze busts like this one, Charlie Joyner here. But what's better than that? The actual Hall of Famer themselves. So I'm pleased to welcome Pro Football Hall of Famer and Chargers great Charlie Joyner to Before the Snap. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, how you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
joining us.
Yes.
So, Charlie, since you have a bronze bust right here, would you tell us what it means to you to be a Hall of Famer?
What it means to me to be a Hall of Famer?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough question for me, But I think I can describe it like this. What having a bust in the Hall of Fame means to me that I participated the best I could participate. I gave it the best shot I had. And by doing that, I managed to compete against some of the better people in football. And so if I'm competing against them, and I was one of the better players in football, I would like to be rewarded also. So I rewarded myself with a name with the bust.
Yeah. So do you think your bust looks like you?
No. If I didn't have the hair, it probably would be very close to me, yeah. But I have the hair, and this bust has the. This has the hair. I don't have the hair. But we're doing all right there.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Stop with comparisons.
That's all from us here. Jake, back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Thank you, Charlie, for being in our Before the Snap program today. For those of you who tuned in, we have this awesome program here at the Hall of Fame called the Residency Program. And pretty much 20 some weeks out of the year, we have a Hall of Famer here for 3 or 4 days. And fortunately, we're able to line up. I don't know, the stars all align. We've got the Chargers Hall of Famer. We've got the Chargers staff on Before the Snap, and we're able to line it up today. So I want to kind of pivot off of that. And this question would be for both of you. Lorren, since you're on my screen, we'll start with you. How do you utilize legends, Hall of Famers, within that social media? You know, there's obviously, from a programming standpoint, there's things you can plug in and plan for, but we just released 160 some names yesterday of Hall of Famers who are now eligible, who are on that list that could be inducted next year, including some Chargers. How do you, when those stories break like that, how do you utilize stories like that, your legend and Hall of Famers, into your overall plan on social media?
Yeah, I think Hall of Fame storylines are a great way to connect with our older fan base. Specifically, we have history in San Diego, so we like to push a lot of our Hall of Fame content on Facebook, where there's an older audience. Like we can post a photo of Charlie Joyner right now, and it's gonna go crazy. Like Kellen Winslow, everyone on Facebook is like, "Oh my gosh, I remember the days," and they just love to reminisce. They love to talk about their experiences and where they were when they watched those specific legends ball out. And so it's a great way to connect that fan base and also bring them back and let them know that just because, you know, you're not on our 53 currently, we still honor you. We still respect you. We have so much love for you. And because of that, I think we do see a lot of Hall of Famers come back and be part of our game days. And then we have present moments of them to share also. So it's always a beautiful full circle moment.
Awesome. And Jaemin, from you, somebody who's like on the ground, you might be at a practice and Kellen Winslow walks in. Phillip Rivers walks in. You know, you're going to have those moments where you don't know somebody showing up and all of a sudden one of your legends or a Hall of Famers walks in. So Jaemin, for you, how do you adjust on the fly and, you know, maybe have to pivot from what your original plan was that day to get content when somebody like that walks in or shows up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had a couple legends show up to training camp, And we have a really good PR staff who kind of gives us a little nudge or a heads up when they are coming. So that's really helpful to just kind of have a supportive team to let us know. And Antonio Gates and LaDainian Tomlinson are usually always around our facility. So sometimes we forget that they're all these legends to our fans. And so we've gotten kind of used to their faces around our facility. But when we do see them, we're definitely utilizing them and leveraging our connections with them to be able to showcase to our fans that they are very much around, and we honor everything that they've done. And specifically this year, we opened up our new facility, and we have a whole Hall of Fame walk path. As soon as you enter our facility, we have everyone who has been mentioned in our Chargers Hall of Fame, also as well as the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I think every day we're kind of reminded when we walk into the office of people who have kind of helped pave the way for our current players and for the building of the facility in Los Angeles. So it's always a good reminder. But overall, we just have like a good staff, a PR staff who kind of works with us on a day-to-day basis to let us know of those legends coming in or stopping by at practice. So very helpful.
Awesome. Some more specific questions for both of you. Jaemin, we'll stay with you. I want to talk about, some bigger events. Let's look at the NFL draft. Content's going out 3 straight days, new players coming in. So for you, what, and you don't have to get into the specifics because I know there's probably, we could have a whole nother hour just probably on that. So for you, let's look at day 1 of the NFL draft. You got a first round pick. What does the process look like for you? Do you get in heads up 3 or 4 minutes before the pick goes in of who's getting in, or are you reacting on TV just like all of us are reacting when we see that pick come in? Kind of explain to you, before the event, during the event, and then post event, what does that kind of look like for you using the NFL draft as an example?
Yeah, for sure. This year, I was actually in Detroit for the NFL draft. So I was with all of the fans that you see on TV, kind of waiting to record the moment when it says like the Chargers select. And so in that, I think like in the 10-minute period that they get, we were let know maybe like a minute before that timer went down. So like we're almost just on edge as much as the fans are on edge about it. But we do a lot of planning before we get to that moment. So it's not like we're not expecting someone that we didn't research beforehand. And so like we probably went through like maybe Lorren can probably talk about this, maybe like a month or 2 months of just being able to pull guys ever since the combine of who our draft picks can be, not even our top first round pick, but our second or third or fourth or fifth. Like we do extensive amounts of research and figure out what kind of content we can plan with them, because at the end of the day, we're not going to know until they draft on TV or maybe like a minute beforehand. So just having ideas and backup plans for that person. So this year was Joe Alt. So we had content ideas planned for Joe before we even knew it was going to be Joe. Or we had plans for somebody else if it was going to be somebody else at the end of the day. But me being at the draft, watching the TV, and then being able to react, but it all works out because we go in with multiple plans of how we're going to adjust our content if it's somebody else. And this year was Joe, so we knew what to do after. But Joe actually wasn't at the draft this year, so that was another twist in our plans. So I went to Detroit, covered the draft, realized he was not there, and then just flew back to LA the next day, and then met him back when we were here. But the rest of the team was there to work the draft from out of LA. So we adjust as we go, but we're really big on planning. So yeah.
Awesome. Lorren, for you now, I want to focus on something else, kind of a more in the news type of story. Brand new head coach this year. Obviously, you know that a hire is coming. You don't know who it is. You don't know when it's going to happen. So for you, from the programming side, are there templates put in place for when this announcement comes and all you got to do is fill in Coach Harbaugh's name? What is that process for you like, and how do you go planning not so much the events are happening, but those breaking news stories that you know are coming but don't know all the details of yet?
Yeah, similar to draft, we plan for coaching hire, I would say almost months. I'll give it about 8 weeks in advance. There were documents and different spreadsheets that went out for copy and graphics. And specifically with this hire, this was like one of, I think, my third coaching hire, but definitely one of the most exciting and most, it generated like a lot of like attention just because it was Coach Harbaugh and he's such a big name. And just watching how it all came together in the end was just a testimony to how much prep and preparation we planned and that went into it. And because it was Coach Harbaugh, and we knew our fan base was going to be excited, that kind of made our plans go to another level where we wanted to capitalize on that moment. With memes or, special things, Coach Harbaugh used to play here. So that was like a special bit of content that we wanted to get the older fans excited about, and even the younger fans that had no idea that Coach Harbaugh was even a quarterback in the NFL. So it was a excuse me, sorry, it was a lot that went into it, a lot of planning, and we were like mini FBI agents for a few weeks leading up to it, just trying to figure out which direction we will go.
Awesome. Want to focus on some more things, that for our college students to really focus in on. And all this information is relevant, don't get me wrong, but we want to really focus in on that networking idea. Lorren, we'll start with you. Networking is stressed over and over and over and while you're in school. And not only that, it's something that we as professionals in, the sports world continue to do. You and I speaking right now, growing this, that's networking. Even though it looks like we're hosting a show, that's networking now. We both have contacts that we didn't have prior to, this program happening. What were some networking tips that you used, and what were some tips that you would give to college students today about networking?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest tips I received about networking is just getting involved. Like, you can't meet people if you're not joining any internships or any clubs, or even if you're just not, speaking to your peers in your classroom. I think using every opportunity as a networking opportunity is the best way to think about it. Like, just because, like, if you're in college, you're in the dining hall, if someone's reading something that you think is interesting, or like they're scrolling and you see something on their laptop, I don't think it's super weird or creepy to stop and be like, oh my gosh, hey, and like kind of build that relationship and connection, because you just never know who people know, what they're into, and that kind of thing. I know for me, my first year at Arizona, I met one of the interns there. His dad is like the head equipment staff person here at the Chargers. And like, I remember when they moved from San Diego to here, and now like I work with his dad, I see him almost every day. And it's so cool because we built that connection years and years ago. And then another thing I would say is just to definitely, social media is your friend. Social media makes it to where you don't have to go to, workshops in person anymore, and seminars. Like, you can shoot a message, shoot your shot, like kids like to say, and see if it lands. And, 9 times out of 10, someone will reply. You'll get a good luck there.
Awesome. Jaemin, same question from you. Just some networking tips that you use in your career and ones college students can utilize today.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we think like networking is like this big picture idea, but like you mentioned, Jacob, like networking on this call is considered networking. And I think a big thing that I did in college to network is to just talk to the people around me, whether that was my professor, whether that was someone down the dorms, or like someone in my organization. I think everyone has a connection somewhere, and I think that can definitely take you farther than just like a cold DM on LinkedIn to somebody. So I think being able to establish a relationship with your professor who may know someone like Jacob or someone like Lorren, I think that definitely takes you a long way than just trying to like scour through LinkedIn and be like, I want to connect with this person because I want to work for whatever organization. So I think just starting in your own communities, whether that's your peers, your professors, your administrators, or just anyone around campus, I think that, or even your family members or your community, anywhere that you can kind of have that face-to-face connection, I think definitely takes you a long way. And before I got to the Chargers, I was very close to someone on our video staff at the Dallas Mavericks, and he connected me to Lorren to get this job at the Chargers. So you just never know who's around your corner, who's going to be able to take you to the next level. And so making sure that you make connections with the people in your day-to-day life will lead you to places like me here in Los Angeles, which I would have never imagined leaving Dallas, which is my home. So it's just insane. But that's how Lorren and I, started working together. It's just through a mutual friend of ours.
Awesome. I got a question here from one of our students. This is from Megan, who goes to Penn State University. It's a two-parter. So, Jaemin, we'll start the first question here with you. Kind of based on those same things we talked on, what are some recommendations and tips you have for graduating seniors looking for full-time positions in the sports industry?
Yeah. I would definitely say in the sports industry, having experience working anywhere in the sports level. So whether that's at your college, or even going to help out in high school football, or any of those sports experiences definitely helps. A lot of the times, people who are looking to hire in sports are looking for people who have experience in sports or just experience in internships. So I think if there's an opportunity for you to be able to help out for one football game, even at your school, or being able to shadow somebody, I think that definitely takes a long way. And if you think that it's late in your senior year, it's not. Those football programs at your colleges definitely need the help. And Lorren can probably speak to this more, is it's a little different than the pros. Like, they will gladly take your help or allow you to shadow. It's just going up to ask. And I had the opportunity to be able to shadow somebody in SMU basketball my senior year. It was like November, and I was going to graduate in December, but I took the opportunity anyway. So I think there is ample opportunity to try and gain an experience, talk to people there, and hopefully that allows you to network and then apply for jobs, and then they can use and see that you have experience or have gotten some sort of experience in the sports industry that can translate.
Awesome. I think that's a perfect explanation of it. And then Lorren, the second part of the question will be for you. How did you get into the position you are today? So what's kind of your career path, and how did you end up with the Chargers where we are today?
Yeah, good question. I kind of started at Arizona as a student. I was studying broadcast journalism with a minor in sports management. That led me to get an internship with the football team. It was 100% focused on recruiting. I think at the time I didn't even really know what recruiting was. So I kind of just did it, said football. I was like, this is fun. I absolutely loved it. I think the summer before my senior year, I got an internship at the airport at LAX. It was like a PR internship on paper. Turned out to really be like a social media internship. And that was kind of my first time really working in social. We would just go to different terminals and cover different openings. I found out that the airport has so much going on. It was like really crazy to see. And then from there, my senior year, going into recruiting at Arizona, I came back, kind of just told them about my summer. My boss was like, oh, do you want to do our social media account? Like, we just got like our own handles from athletics. Like, it sounds like something that you will be good at since you did it all summer. I loved it even more than I did for like the airport. So that's kind of how I was like, okay, maybe social over recruiting. From there, once I graduated, got my master's at USC. So I was kind of just like a GA graduate assistant with like a 40-60 split with recruiting and social. But I knew that, post grad, I wanted to kind of stick with social. So once I graduated from USC, I got my first full-time job with the Houston Texans as a social media coordinator in 2021, I believe. Did 2 seasons there. And then once the opportunity presented myself to come back home to LA, I took it immediately, didn't ask any questions. I literally grew up across the street from SoFi. So it was exciting to be able to come home and work for the home team.
Awesome. Next question here. This is from Melissa, who also goes to Penn State, and we've been doing this for 5 years. This might be my favorite student question of all time. Both of you can answer it. We'll start with Lorren. If you could compare your job to an ice cream flavor, which one would it most resonate with?
Ooh, that's really good.
I might take this for some interview questions too. That's a good one.
Really good. I would say, what is it when it's like the strawberry and chocolate Neapolitan?
Neapolitan, yes.
I think that is the best way, because you just get a little bit of everything every day. No scoop is the same, no day is the same. Like, everything is so different. You never know what you're gonna get in a sense, because you see the flavors, but you never know how it's all gonna mesh together. And I think that's the best way to describe this job. It keeps you on your feet. It's different. No 2 days are the same.
Jaemin, same for you. Which ice cream flavor are we looking
That
at?
was such a good answer, Lorren. I think my first thought, I just thought of like a fresh, like summer sorbet type of vibe, because I feel like everything we do is just like always like filled with energy. And because we follow a football team and we get to post content about our guys and football, and it's really always exciting. So taking that first bite of like a lemon sorbet during the summer, I feel like just hits different. So I feel like our job is super exciting. So guess that's the best way to answer that. I feel like Lorren had a better answer than mine.
Nah, it's an awesome. I love the question because it makes you think on your feet. And you both, first answer that came to mind, and you both great examples. And we see a question like that and we laugh and have fun with it. But that's just another technique for all of our students watching. You see what Jaemin and Lorren both did. They stopped, they thought, and then they gave their answer. And they didn't just give their answer, they gave reasoning behind it, which is a great interview technique. When you're in an interview and you get asked a question, we love asking, if there's a movie about your life, which actor or actress plays you and why? And everybody always, we're like looking at us like, why are we asking this question? Well, the reason is we want to see how you answer it. Is there thought? Is it quick? Are you umming and umming all over yourself? What is it? And that's the same thing. So great question, but also a little tie into some interview technique as well. Last part here before we wrap up and before we do, I want to thank you both so much for giving us time out of your busy schedules. We're in the midst of the NFL season, so we appreciate you so much for giving us some of your time here. We got some rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask them to you. Jaemin will have you answer first. Lorren, you can answer second. And we have 6 of them. So you ready? Just one word answers, first thing that comes to mind. All right, first question. Jaemin, we'll start with you. Like I said, LinkedIn, great way to network or just another social media app?
Great way to network.
Great way to network.
All right, second question. GPA on a resume, include it or keep it off?
I'd keep it off.
I second that. I'll keep it off.
Great question for our folks here today. Social media accounts, public or private?
Mine is public.
I'm also public, so I recommend public. Just be transparent.
Number 4, jeans at work, all day, every day, never or only on casual Fridays?
All day, every day.
All day, every day.
You guys must work great together. Coin toss, heads or tails?
Heads.
Tails.
I knew that was going to happen as soon as I said it. Last question for you today here. You score a touchdown. What is your go-to touchdown celebration?
I'm doing whatever the most popular TikTok dance is at the time.
Same,
This one.
yeah.
I don't know what that is, but apparently it's something that's popular on TikTok. So thank you all. We love having fun with that here to wrap everything up. So, and that with that being said, we are going to wrap up this program today here with our special guest. And we want to thank you both so much for being a part of the program today, helping us kick off the 5th year of this program as we lead into our 100th episode here. So thank you so much. Again, we've got Jaemin Cho and Lorren Walker, both who work in organic social media with the Los Angeles Chargers. Thank you both so much for being here today. And truly, thank you for everything you do for the game of football, doing this for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and everything you do on social media. As a fan of the game, especially when the schedule comes out, who loves seeing the posts on social, we want to thank you so much for everything you're doing to grow the game of football, all over the world.
Thank you so much, Jake. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And as we said, make sure you're tuning in and looking to everything we have here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame on all our social media channels. We just released our list of over 160 names who are going to be eligible as a modern era finalist for our class of 2025. And we've got a lot of great other content coming out as well. And as always, got to plug the Chargers social media. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow all their channels as you learned today. Kind of got into the weeds a little bit to learn what they do and come out with on a day-to-day basis. Our next program, we're going to be back to you. As you know, we're on Thursdays this year. A little schedule change than years prior. We are on Thursdays at noon now. Next Thursday, September 26th, we're going to have Baker Koppelman, who is the Senior Vice President of Ticketing with the Baltimore Ravens, on as our special guest. So we're going to learn all about the world of ticketing and sales with him. And like I said at the beginning, the game of football just doesn't happen. There's so much work that goes into making it what it is today. And Jaemin and Lorren are a huge part of making sure that happens. So again, thank you both so much for being on Before the Snap, and we hope to see all of